We are live, going out to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn, all these great places. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist, here to teach you the best in PR and visibility strategies. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that needs to be discussed more often, business communication and the importance of it. Where do I even begin? Because this is such an important topic. Before we get started, let's give a shout out real quick to our sponsors. Mike's Damascus Knives at mikesdamascusknives.com. If you need a good tactical kitchen or utility knife, check out Mike's Damascus LLC on Facebook business pages. Quality knives with custom sheets, very high-tempered steel and handcrafted. I use these. This is a tactical knife, but I use the kitchen ones for preparing all my amazing meals. Find them at mikesdamascusknives.com. All right. For today, we're going to talk about communication and the importance of learning to communicate better, especially in business. Oftentimes, especially if we're separated by distance, and let's say we're communicating with people via Zoom or text or email, we lose a lot of context with people. And if we don't have a lot of communication with people, sometimes we drop off for weeks or months at a time. We tend to write stories in our heads. We tend to assume things. We tend to say, to think certain things that aren't always true. And it's important to keep the lines of communication open. Oftentimes, if I haven't talked to somebody in a while and they come at me out of nowhere with something, it's important to pick up the phone. It's important to actually have a phone call with them versus text messages or emails. And this isn't about any one person. So if you're watching this, you're like, is this motherfucker talking about me? This is more bigger picture, just things I've observed over the last couple of years. So don't think I'm specifying any one person, because I do the same thing with people. And it's human nature that if we haven't talked to anybody in a while, like we've had some distance, we write some wild shit in our heads. This person might not like me. This person's a jerk. This person did this or did that. Why is this person acting like this? This person's a user, all this stuff. And all of it can be dispelled with just picking up the phone or having a Zoom call and just reconnecting. That's it. That's the secret, right? Because communication breaks down the lower down the chain you go. And what I mean by that is if you're only texting people or you're only using Facebook Messenger or you're only using email, you don't catch context, you don't catch body language, you don't catch emotion. You just catch basic words that convey nothing except for script, right? And you're stripping out like 90% of the context of a message if you're just using those three methods. This is why it's so important. Even on a phone call, I can tell somebody's tone. They can tell mine. I can read their mood. But it's always better if you haven't talked to somebody in a while. Like I said, pick up the phone, meet them in person for lunch, Zoom call, whatever. And if you're let's say you're talking to somebody, and if you have a disagreement in business, this is an important one. If you have a disagreement in business and either an accusation is thrown out or there's name calling, you've lost. Period. At that point, communication's completely broken down. And don't be tempted, because trust me, I've had times where people have gone completely batshit. And I mean on nothing, like just pivoted in 2 seconds and just gone from hot to cold, just flip the switch. And I've had to stop myself from saying, dude, did you not take your fucking meds today? Like, what is your problem? And I've had people go on tears for like 5 days, literally going on Facebook, going on social media, like calling me a fraud, like telling people that I faked all my credentials and I've done this and I've done that. Just all this shit that has no shred of truth, right? And at that point, you just need to excommunicate someone from your life. If they are so far gone that they're just making stuff up about you and just like losing their minds, just get rid of them. There's no point in even trying to reconnect a relationship if they're going to act like that. But like I said, if you're having a business dispute, this is another part of communication of any sort, it's important to never level accusations. It's important to never name call. Don't sink to that level because that's an emotional level. You need to just get on the phone with them. Say, hey, what's going on? How do you feel? You know, what can I do to make this better? What would make this situation even in your eyes? Because it is important. Like, there are times, you know, I work in a fluid field. I work in a field where there is no absolutes. Somebody works with me, they're literally hoping that I can do my job. Because, and the problem is, like with PR and marketing, they're fluid industries. So every result is going to be different for clients. And so I can never make guarantees. I can make guarantees about certain stuff that I have control over, but there's a lot that I don't have control over. And so over the years, I've had to realize, like, hey, be careful with what you're putting out there. You know, don't make promises you can't keep. Don't promise somebody you're going to get them on Fox tomorrow or CNN. I mean, I've never gone to that extent, but that's the general analogy of what I'm putting out. It's important that you know your limitations for sure. But business communication, going back to the topic, business communication, a lot of times, a lot of situations and disagreements can be rectified if you just pick up the phone and talk to the person. Because if you don't talk to somebody, the worst thing you can do is not talk to somebody for months at a time. And I'm guilty of this as much as anybody. I get busy. I forget sometimes. Somebody will drop off the radar and but I'll make it right. And there are times when I've absolutely worked with somebody and either I didn't provide a deliverable, or, they just got caught up in the wayside and I didn't put them on the project board and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm talking to 15, 20 people a day sometimes. And it's very easy for me to forget about a project. But if somebody comes to me and like, hey man, you need to fix this, or, this didn't work out or whatever, I'll fix it. That's part of being reliable. Own up to your shit. If you drop the ball, it's okay. But like I said, if you have to challenge somebody on something, always be polite, always be professional, and just don't do passive aggressive shit. Just reach out to them. I know that when I haven't talked to somebody in months at a time, sometimes like I might be a little salty, or I might be like, what the fuck does this person want? So it's always important to be patient. It's always important to never assume stuff about somebody. If somebody drops off the radar for a long period of time, maybe they had a death in the family. Maybe they had a relationship ending. Maybe they moved. Maybe they had something going on in the background you don't know about. So it's important to not fly off the handle. It's important to catch up first. And like I said, if you're just communicating at a low level, like texts or emails or Facebook Messenger, pick up the phone, get on a Zoom call, stop being lazy, right? Communication is so important, and the ability to properly, let a person know what's going on in your head or what you're feeling or what you're thinking about, very important. That's how you kind of reconnect that bond. I see too many people getting upset about something and just stewing on it and not just extending communication or not trying to resolve the situation, especially in business. Business resolution is a lost art. And a lot of times, I see situations where two people disagree about a service being rendered, or two people disagree about, a situation, and they could have avoided a lot of bullshit if they'd have just picked up the phone and talked. That's it. And especially with guys. Guys are very hard-headed. They take it to that next level, a lot of chest beating, and then you throw in veteran guys, and then it becomes a whole nother level. I've seen business disagreements, especially with veterans, devolve into you ain't shit. You haven't seen combat. I have a combat action ribbon that makes me somehow, my service somehow better than you, or my service more important than yours. I've seen those arguments, and they're ugly. And that's definitely a breakdown in communication. A guy the other day, I was on TikTok and I was just laughing about something. I was making fun of other branches of service, but I wasn't being a dick about it. And he told me something like, I'll bet my net every month is more than your, gross pay, blah, 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 something like that. So he's trying to flex his pay on me. And that's not really winning an argument, dude. That just says you have a job that, makes a lot of money. Good for you. But that's an example of business communication gone awry. If you have to flex on your combat ribbons or how much money you make or all this stuff, you've already retreated to a point of insecurity. So it's always interesting watching how people communicate, and I can tell how developed somebody is by the way they communicate. If they choose to actually be civil about stuff, or if they just go right for the throat, the name calling, the accusations, stuff like that. It's a fascinating topic. Me personally, if I have a disagreement with somebody about something, I will reach out to them. I'll talk to them, find out what's on their mind. And, I've had times where I've worked with people, especially in the early days, the really early days when I was still like in the early stages of my business. I've had times where I've had to go back, look at the package, look at the results, and amend things. And because, like I said, what I do is it's not concrete. If 3 people come to me and hand me $5,000, the results are going to be different for every one of them. At that level, they'll all get something pretty awesome, but I can never promise, hey, you're going to get this or you're going to get that if it's out of my control. But there have been times where I've had to go back, and if a campaign goes dead in the water, and it does happen. Even now, it happens a lot less, but it does happen. If a campaign goes dead in the water, I'll continue to work for somebody for free. If there's a deliverable that wasn't met, I will get it to them. If they feel that they didn't get everything they needed, we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. In one case, I did do a partial refund because we'd agreed to certain parameters that weren't met, and it's only fair. A lot of what I do, about half of what I do is non-refundable, and that's always in the contract. That's always stated up front. I don't sneak that on anybody. I'm just like, hey, this is because of labor hours, and I have to do, long before the campaign starts, I have to do hours and hours and hours of prep work just to create a strategy, right? But in that case, I always have a policy, and this is why people come to me and work with me. I have a policy called Make It Right. And if somebody doesn't see a result, I will keep working until they get something. And I'm proud to say that just about every person I worked with in 2023 either got on TV or had an industry article run about them in an industry feature, or they had a viral article. Some people had more than one, which is great. But the point is, I try and make at least one spectacular result when I do a campaign for somebody. And if I can't, then I can go back and I can say, okay, I'm going to keep going. I have a client right now that is so technically advanced that it's been really tough getting one of these results for them, only because they're operating at such a high level. Like, they're super high IQ, they're super brilliant at what they do. And I've been, throwing my best shit at their campaign. And even after they're paid up, right? And it's been going on for months. And even after they're paid up, I'm like, you know what? I'm still going to keep trying to get you on TV. I'm still going to keep creating content for you. We're still going to keep going until you get something amazing. And I don't give a shit if I have to do this for another 6 months. It's not a problem. This person paid me. They put trust in me. They believed in my abilities. And I'm going to make some magic happen. And I will get there. And this is why people come to me. This is why people trust me in the world of visibility and PR, because I believe in 3 words: make it right. And I will not take money from somebody unless I'm positive I can do something great for their business. But that's part of being ethical. The average PR firm will take a lot of money from people, and then at the end of 3 months or a couple months, just shrug their shoulders, say, sorry, we did our best. Well, that's not good enough. Not in my world. So anyway, in summary, if you want to be better in business, reach out more, learn to communicate better, Don't just reach out on Messenger. Have phone calls with people to get to know them. Get on Zoom calls, because if the only way you're talking to your clients or you're talking to leads is over Messenger or over text or over email, you're missing 90% of communication. And I can assure you that's an important 90%, because people buy from who they trust. People buy from who they know and feel like they have a bond with. So it's very important to always take them up the ladder. Like in person is the best thing you can do, obviously. Then a Zoom call, then a phone call. That's the order. But take them up the ladder of communication until you're at the very top, and especially for dispute resolution. Don't just rely on emails, because they get contentious and people don't understand. Like if you have a dispute with a service provider, you hired a coach, you hired a PR person, you had a marketing person, whatever, and you're only covering it over email, you're messing up. Get on the phone with somebody, get on a Zoom call, talk to them in person, something like that. Like I said, communication goes awry if you are only using text-based mediums for it. So anyway, that's all I got in business communication. Hopefully this gave you some ideas on communicating with people better, reaching out to them, all that good stuff. Hope you guys have an amazing day today. I'm going to go to the gym and start mapping out some stuff. I do have some client work today, and then just going to try and take half a day off. Had a lot on my mind lately. I will see you guys soon. If you have any questions about PR visibility, feel free to reach out to me. And as always, stay famous. See you guys next time.